So this is really easy once you get going. It's a little bit hard at first. Anybody here golf?
I shank.
Shank? Some people golf. So if you, a quick aside, if you've never golfed, right, you should know that the goal of golf, right, is to get the ball in a little hole in as few strokes as possible, right? And if you're like me, you know, you're golfing in a certain rate, and I've learned that if I want the ball to go this way, all I have to do is aim that way, and you know, and I get my score. And every now and then I go, and I decide I got to get better. I can't. I have to get better, so I'll go take a lesson. Now, do you think my scores get better or get worse after the lesson?
Worse.
Yeah. And so, what happened, right? I mean, so I go and I'm trying to do what the lesson is, and it's worse than it was, and I'm losing money on every hole. Those of you who don't know, a lot of betting going on in golf. I'm losing money on every hole, and I'm losing to the worst person in the world to lose to, is my brother, right? And it's like, and finally, I'm around hole number 5, I'm like, to hell with this lesson this guy gave me. I'm going to aim this way, I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to start getting my money back. But we all know that if I stick with the lesson, it'll be awkward and weird and difficult, and I'll have terrible results at first, but if I stick with it, muscle memory will kick in at some point, this will become easy and natural, and my game will dramatically improve. And that's what this is. This will be hard and difficult, and you'll be like, why is Rob forcing me to do this? This is like,
It's obviously still hard for me. It's a sign that I don't know how to do what I'm currently doing. Startup I'm trying to do what as I inventing as I go along, attempting to draft status report and failing. Failing to identify the right things to measure. My progress and plan sections don't match. It's not really clear what's going on. And only over time, it's painful. Only over time, the discipline of week after week after week attempting to play a game with status report will I eventually get to the point where I have this thing. Once it's working, once the manager report is functioning well, that's a sign that I understand what it is that I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
So what I do, right, is Monday morning at 9 a.m. I publish mine. And moments after I publish it, I copy my document and I create next week's version. And I take all the plans and I put it in progress because I'm always optimistic that I'll get all my plans done. I never do, but I always am optimistic. So I copy all my plans, I put it in the progress, I change the tense, I print it out, and I carry it with me all week. So every time I go into a meeting or something happens, whatever, I'll take notes on it. I should probably write my status reports that we decided not to do this, or I got the customer to agree to do that, or whatever. I just take a lot of notes on it all week long, and so when I sit down on Saturday to write it, I have all my scribbly notes, and it's really easy for me. As opposed to, if you're like me, you'll get to Saturday and you're like, geez, what the hell did I do this week? You know, I did a lot of stuff, but I just can't seem to remember what it is. So, I mean, that's the way I have a tough time remembering. It might be different for you guys. So for me, I take notes on the status report all week long, and then it's easy for me, and then I publish it, and I create next status report. I don't do this as much anymore, but I always, you know, I'm anal, as I told you before, about a lot of stuff. And if I ever, right, I mean, for weeks, I will remember that Matt pointed out that I was supposed to say not blind side, and I said blind side. Okay? Because I'm a perfectionist and it bugs the hell out of me that I made that mistake in front of all of you. Okay? And that's just the way I am. Right? So I'm always trying to think about, you know, so when I write my report, I find 1 or 2 really anal people like me, and I have them look at it before I publish it. I go, listen, before I send this to everybody and be embarrassed, can you please just look it over, right? And not people who will just kind of eyeball it, people who will look at it with a real attention to detail. Ideally, people who've been through this training, right? So you can review each other's, and right, you can like, oh, hey, listen, you know, your progress has worked on, you know, you probably shouldn't do that, right? And then I publish it. So last couple of slides, I'm finished. You know, people, and people as a general, have a right to know what is going on. People could be your staff. They have a right to know. Your investors, they have a right to know. Right? Your partners, maybe you're partnering with Facebook or God knows what, they have a right to know. Your wife or husband might have a right to know, right? They're supporting you, right? While you're out there doing this crazy venture, they're holding up the fort. They might want to know. So if I write this, everyone who's interested can find out what it is. This is a comment I got from a real customer about our management reports. So, after I got that comment, I flew every one of my managers from around the country into Salt Lake for a full day training that you're getting right now. Because this is something that represents you. And do you want the reader, whoever the reader is, your wife, the investor, do you want them to think you know what you're doing? Or do you want them to think you don't know what you're doing?
So you're sharing these reports with the customers?
Yeah.
We did, yeah, sorry.
So after the training, I did a survey and I got this comment. There's a lot of people, the only insight is going to be this report. And when someone reads my report, I want them to think this. And that drives how I write everything and how I do it. So